Guys, I hope you enjoyed that workout. I hope you incorporate some of the stretches that I showed you earlier in the week. Some of you have some serious issues going on with hip extension or hamstring issues. Some of you have lower back issues. Some of you have elbow issues. If you look back at the exercise progressions, I showed you guys different tricks on how to fix ankles and things of that nature. You can see me hopping on my right ankle as if I'm gonna break my ankle, and I slam it into the ground 12 times or so. It doesn't break, guys. Ankles, along with most joints, are meant to be strong and resilient. So we have to train them. Joints are really important. But then you also heard me mention in the video, make sure you breathe into your abdomen. So you breathe, brace, move. Guys, breathing correctly as you move is a huge deal. So as a general rule of thumb, if you're trying to stretch, you exhale, you relax into the stretch. If we're strength training, so if I have a lot of weight, for example, that I'm squatting on my back, I have to breathe into my abdomen, brace my abdomen and move. So I breathe, brace, move. So I'm purposely leaving my shirt off for this part of this discussion, and then I'm gonna put my shirt back on because I want to show you what it means to breathe into your belly. And a lot of people don't get this. So there's the breathing that we do in meditation, where we're in the beginning of the meditation, just closing the mouth and focusing on literally using the nostrils as straws to pull the air into our abdomen diaphragmically. So obviously I'm doing this over the course of many, many days through the meditation. There's some specific instruction and some attention principles going on there. Then we do some deep breathing exercises the first few days, and then we keep refining it and do some breath holds and whatnot. The point is that if you can't get the breath down here, you're just not getting it. So you have to stop being thoracic breathers, upper respiratory breathers. We have to use the lower respiratory system better. And without getting into too much of the anatomy of breathing, let me just show you. So I'm just gonna lower this. So here's the bottom of my rib cage here. So when I breathe, this part right here should move. So if you just, let me move this back a little bit. If you breathe, you should feel your rib cage, right? Just go right underneath your rib cage, right under there, okay? Breathe. And you should feel that respiration right underneath the rib cage. That's how you know if you're using your diaphragm. And that's every time you breathe. Every single time you breathe, you should have some subtle amount of respiration coming from that lower rib cage. If we're talking about squatting big weight or moving big weight, and guys, for some people, moving big weight means a body weight squat or a body weight lunge. Like a body weight lunge could be 240, 250 pounds or more for some people. That's not a small amount of weight to move. So you need to breathe according to the load, to the demand. So in general, if I'm going to do a big max weight heavy squat or heavy bench press, it doesn't matter what it is, I'm gonna breathe into my belly much deeper, right? I'm gonna get real deep. I'm gonna brace my abs and I'm gonna move. So there's techniques here with that strength component, but the point is that if the breath isn't getting into the belly, we're missing a whole bunch of things, not just in health like we talked about yesterday, but also in terms of getting stronger. So the big thing yesterday that I didn't really get into too much, and I probably should have, is talking a little bit more about carbon dioxide. And there was a couple of questions. What do you mean, Tom, by carbon dioxide doing its magic with red blood cells? Well, I'm talking specifically about hemoglobin. So remember I said that blood oxygen saturation is a big deal with this COVID-19. We see it dropping as people get more sick. So if we want the correct ratios in the body, if we want oxygen to go where it belongs and carbon dioxide to be regulated correctly, one of the things that we have to stop doing is dysfunctional breathing, which means we have to stop being hyperventilators, breathing through our mouth and breathing up in our chest. It is super critical to breathe through your nose deeply in order to create nitric oxide, which is a vasodilator. It is created mostly in your parasinuses. If you didn't hear this yesterday, please go back and listen. So real quick as well, I put out a bonus video today. I just want to kind of do a few Q&As real quick. Put out a bonus video early today. Some people are under the impression that when they're talking about diabetes, they think it's type 1 diabetes. No, they're talking about type 2 diabetes. They're talking about the diabetes that most Americans have. All you have to do is start looking at present day estimates of how many people in America are type 2 diabetic. There are many experts in this field who think that 4 out of 5 people are type 2 diabetic. That's what I'm trying to say, guys. Everybody's kind of like in this weird, like, I don't think this can happen to me type of attitude, but yet they see their brother, their uncle, and then they start worrying. And I'm telling you not to scare you. I am telling you to put a sense of urgency into you. 2 weeks ago, so just imagine for 1 second, if you had started 2 weeks ago, we know for a fact that blood lipid panels can change dramatically in as little as 3 to 5 days, depending on how vigilant you are with your diet. So if we just did what I proposed starting on day 1 for all of the reasons that I said in that initial video, which lasted 30 minutes, we would all be in a very different state of health. I am not saying this as sort of like an I told you so. I am saying to you that if you don't start now, when will you start? If we don't start mapping on these strategies right away, lowering sugar, lowering overall food intake, moving our bodies more, understanding how to breathe, understanding our parasympathetic nervous system, and how in the beginning of the morning, that is the best time to get that system online, because that is your rest and digest system. What do most people have problems with, especially under stress? Digestion. They're way too sympathetic, therefore they don't sleep at night. Again, I am going to do an entire seminar on sleep, but I revealed yesterday that there is vast amounts of data that shows, not in 1 or 2 or 5 people, but over the course of thousands of people and well-respected longitudinal studies, that people are not 50%, not 80%, 300% more likely to get colds when they are underslept. Colds are viruses. COVID-19 is a virus. Guys, I could go on and on and on about all the problems with not getting enough sleep. According to Matthew Walker, please look up his book and buy that book. The average person needs at least 7.5 hours of sleep. 7.5 to 9 hours is ideal. Every half hour you go under 7.5, there are consequences to your immune system, to your blood sugar, to your IQ. It goes on and on and on and on and on. None of them are good. So if you're somebody that's sleeping 5 or 6 hours a week, you are heavily compromising your immune system along with many other things. So guys, eat, move, and let's try to all be healthy together. Please keep the questions coming, and I appreciate your time and attention today. Have a good day, everybody.